And what the communists want is for children to be the property of the state, to get them into early daycares, to get them into government schools. See, they're doing pretty well with their plan.
I mean, Zimmerman was right. He tagged him as a thief. It seems pretty likely that he was a thief.
The progressive movement, the communist movement, the socialist movement.
The solution to it is a reduction in the size and power of the state.
We all strive for peace, but we all love conflict.
This is the story of your enslavement. While they're forced into the indoctrination camps in public schools, and their parents are forced to pay for these schools.
And because we have forgotten that there's evil in the world, we have forgotten that there is some goddamn things in the world that are damn well worth making people uncomfortable about. I'm sorry that taxation is theft. It's not my fucking fault.
What you need to do is reduce or eliminate the power of the state to control the economy.
Fuck the debt. Fuck the Fed. Fuck it all.
Without the violence of taxation and statism.
We are a predator species.
Now, of course, people on the left are very prevalent in the media. They tend to be socialists / communists.
And let the free market reward the hardworking and reward the diligent and reward the honorable and the virtuous.
Fuck you, dinosaurs. We got the food.
Here is a very rapid tour through the destruction of rationality.
This could be a really fucking long one.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Hello there, hello there, hello there. Willkommen, bienvenue, g'day, and welcome to episode 6 of The Descent of Man-osphere. And in this edition, we'll be looking at the anarcho-capitalist, pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-philosopher and leader of the world's shittest cult, Stefan Molyneux. Now this was a really fucking difficult one to make, people, because his fucking videos are padded out, pretentious fucking bullshit that lasts well over an hour usually. So it's taken me over 2 fucking months to process this utter dickhead's fucking bullshit. This was originally planned to be episode 3 of the fucking series, and it's episode 6 in the end. And I wouldn't mind so much, but he just fucking rambles on and on and on and fucking on. When basically all of his videos can be boiled down to this one fucking sentence. We need to get rid of the government! Now I'll be dealing with all these disgusting bigotries as we go along, but I'd like to kick off by pointing out something which really fucking grated on me throughout this whole process. And that's the fucking pseudo-intellectual fucking bullshit word salad and linguistic quirky asides that he fucking sprinkles throughout his fucking shitty videos.
To be truly free is both very easy and very hard.
So if you want a life of security and safety and inconsequentiality, life like a high spear of javelin that disappears into the stormy seas of history, leaving barely a bubble in its wake, then you can have that life. You stand and you keep crying your barbaric yawp of truth to the very roof of the world. And sooner or later, people look up and say, I don't think that's lightning up there. I think that's human thought changing physics.
The age of heroism is also the age of the death cult. Life is portrayed as pain. Tortured souls stride the stages and comedians giggle and spit at the same time. Like there's some giant mothership where we keep all the fertile women bound up and inseminated by giant hydra-headed snakes ridden by Hercules or some weird magnificent stuff. Or, in other words, freedom metastasizes the cancer of the state.
No, it's the priestly class who transitioned to the intellectual class. You know, they saw that the ship of God was listing and going down, and they all jumped ship to go to universities and politics and the state. And they took their considerable rhetorical skills, they detached them from their dying God, and they fastened them onto the jugular of the New World. And they continued their black wizardry of language parasitism. I made it out.
of the abuse. I made it out of the tyranny. I made it out of the hysteria and the hypochondria and the violence and the disconnection and the chaotic stone ape brutality of my origins. And part of me wants to just keep running straight over the horizon to the cathedral of the future that I built for myself. How did we get to where we will be tomorrow with economic collapse and the war of words of all against all?
Do you see what I mean? He's just such an irritating prick. Yes, it's the inevitable bit about rape. That's bound to calm me down. So anyway, Stefan, take it away, you fucking asshole.
Women have, of course, generally been portrayed as mere helpless victims in this interaction. However, if 92% of women know they're rapists, then it's hard to say that they are pure victims in the matter, given that rapists, genuine rapists, come with a wide variety of markers for dysfunction and violence in other areas.
At this point, I've heard that exact same shite from so many MRAs that I'm not even surprised that this fucking streak of filth has expressed exactly the same fucking opinion. But it is, guys, the reason that I can't take so many of you MRAs seriously, and indeed Stefan Molyneux, seriously on the topic of rape, you know? Because you fucking dickheads. Fuck you, Molyneux.
This is not to blame women.
Yes, it is. That's precisely what it is. And everyone knows that's what you're fucking doing right now. Go fuck yourself. But anyway, let's move on for the sake of my fucking sanity. Now, in terms of his politics, Stefan Molyneux is an anarcho-capitalist libertarian. He wants to see an absolutely stateless society. And his ideas, along with basically all absolutist libertarian dickheads, is unworkable, impractical, and just fucking outright stupid. Basically, all of his political protestations can be boiled down to this one fucking sentence. I don't want to pay any taxes. And as with a lot of right-wing scumbags, Stefan Molyneux is very fond of talking down to poor people and basically explaining how it's their fault and their fault alone that they're poor. But in one of his videos he explained that he's not coming from it from the perspective of a rich man because he was one of the poor people too.
Now, a little bit about myself first. For those who don't know me, I don't often tout my working class hero origins, but I was born in significant poverty. So I did kind of come out of enormous and significant poverty.
It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us.
Now, it's really interesting that he put such a focus on his poor upbringing before then going on to slate the poor so fucking viciously. Especially because Stefan Molyneux in the past has also said this.
Obviously can't speak to your education. I grew up and I went to a private boarding school in England.
A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be.
Yes, that's right, Stefan. You're a lying piece of fucking shit, aren't you? Apart from just the lies, hypocrisy and brazen bullshit inherent in Stefan Molyneux's worldview, there are also some really, really dark corners of his philosophy. And I'd have liked to have gone into the fact that he's basically a fucking cult leader, or is trying to set himself up as such. But in order to try and keep this video down to at least a reasonable length, I've had to sort of gloss over that. But what I will do is I'll leave a link below to a fantastic interview on the Joe Rogan Experience fucking show. And I don't particularly like Joe Rogan at all, by the way, but he does have some interesting people on. And one of those people was a guy called Steven Hassan, who's a psychological therapist who specialises in treating those that have been taken in by cults. And he had a few very, very interesting things to say about how much he dislikes Stefan Molyneux and his tactics, which Molyneux calls de-fooing. Now, foo is FOO, family of origin, right? And Molyneux basically says that unless your family and friends and everyone have exactly the same anarcho-capitalist worldview as he does, then they're bad for you and you should completely cut off contact with them. Yeah, like some fucking crazy cult shit, right? So go and check out that interview below. But anyway, let's move on to something a little less depressing, shall we?
Turn our attention to Ferguson, Missouri, where recently a young black man, Michael Brown, was shot by a white policeman in the street.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This show is supposed to be funny. You're not fucking helping me here, you dick.
We don't know the exact details, of course, of the altercation between Officer Darren Wilson and Michael Brown that led to Brown's death. But based upon the available evidence, we do know that there's not a huge amount of evidence to support the gentle giant narrative.
So what if he wasn't a gentle giant? Does that mean he deserved to get shot?
Brown's family expressed outrage at, quote, the devious way the police chief has chosen to disseminate piecemeal information in a manner intended to assassinate the character of their son.
Just like you're attempting to assassinate his character now as well, aren't you? You little fuck.
And so we got a few of the lyrics, I guess you could call them, from the songs that Michael Brown had recorded, and they go something like this.
Stefan Molyneux, are you about to rap? This could be the greatest moment ever.
Fucking with me, you gon' end up in a trash bag somewhere in Pakistan. Real niggas don't play that. Do you play that? Another one is, feel my pain, my own mama don't give a damn. I just want a real bitch, smoke dope, and kill shit.
Oh yeah, my boy's got flow.
And if we catch you slacking, we gon' blow your fucking brains out. We bought the click-clack to make them niggers feel it. Click-clack, I think here is being used as a gun. Apparently that's amateur gangbanging. Click-clack actually refers to a dice game, craps. Here's another one. Shit talkers, dog walker, I'm a clip sparker. Big hole in your head, I'll turn you into a... couldn't figure that one out. I smoke loud, I be coughing. It keep me up like coffee. Don't get to feeling soft, you fuck with me and get a coffin. We heard yo got that cash, so we rumble through yo stash.
I cannot wait till he drops his mix. It's gonna be fire!
He rapped in a song entitled Forgiveness, Big Mike, smoking on the dope till I choke. Later in the lyrics, he also raps, do you smoke weed? Keep doing what you do best.
So what's the point you're trying to make here? Yeah, he made some violent sounding songs and wrote some violent sounding lyrics. Does that mean he deserved to get shot?
Brown also clicked like on High Times magazine, which apparently is not about the airline industry.
Okay, yes, he smoked weed. Again, does that mean he deserved to get fucking shot dead in the street? And this is a common theme with Stefan Molyneux. He's made videos about Freddie Gray, Rodney King, Eric Garner, and basically assassinated their characters too. And has also taken great pleasure in deriding and denouncing those involved in rioting, but for some reason forgot to ever make a video about when the University of Kentucky students rioted. I wonder why that was. And if you want further proof of his ridiculous racist paranoia, I would suggest you go and watch two particular videos of his. One called The War on White People and the other called The Truth About the Race War. Yeah, like when the fuck have you ever heard someone talk about there being a race war who wasn't a fucking mad racist fuck? And remember this, right? He's supposed to be an anti-authoritarian, right? But at no point during any of these videos where he assassinates the character and essentially acts as an apologist for the police in the brutal slaying of all of these men, at no point does he dedicate really any time whatsoever to being angry and pissed off that police are shooting people dead in the fucking streets. Yes, what a great anti-fucking authoritarian you are. It's surprising that, isn't it? When it's a black person being killed in the street, Stefan, you turn into basically an establishment fucking goon. So anyway, let's now move on to a hilarious topic, shall we?
So I've been asked a number of times about my thoughts with regards to abortion.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Stefan. You're killing me, bro. Now, as a libertarian, you would imagine that Stefan Molyneux would support a woman's right to choose, right? Wrong. Have I taught you nothing? Stefan Molyneux is an unprincipled fucking dick who hates women.
So that's as far as the solution to abortion, the initiation of force against the woman. You can't shoot her for going to have an abortion because that will kill the kid.
Really, Stefan, that's the only thing you can see that's wrong with that plan?
You could kidnap the mother who was going to go and have an abortion, and you could restrain her, and you could force feed her, and so on. But the problem is that stress is not great for a developing fetus.
Again, Stefan, is that the only thing that you think is wrong with that fucking hideous plan?
Now, of course, the other option is that you put the mother in jail after the abortion, and of course that's. I mean, these are all options to be discussed. That she knowingly ended the life of a future human being, and therefore is liable, and therefore should be thrown in jail.
Wow, what a fucking anti-authoritarian you are. A woman makes a decision about her own fucking body, and you want her thrown in jail? Jesus fucking Christ. You're about as anti-authoritarian as the Pope is a Muslim. Yes, that's right. Stefan Molyneux is such a libertarian that he wants the government's grubby fingers out of his wallet and in your vagina. Now seriously, we're going to look at something that actually is genuinely, I think, fucking brilliant and funny, right? Now, Stefan Molyneux is the host of a thing called Free Domain Radio, which is his corporation, even though apparently he's anti-corporation. Unprincipled dick, remember? And it hosts radio shows and podcasts and videos and all the rest of it, right? And he has callers into the show. And I was going to do my usual montage of clips from various videos of him talking to these fucking maniacs, until I found the conversation that I'm going to take you through now, because it might be the absolute peak of the English language. Fuck Shakespeare, fuck Swift, fuck Lord Byron, all the rest of it. This might actually be the greatest use of the English language ever.
Christina wrote in and said, given that it is natural for a husband to lose interest in his wife when she ages and her beauty starts to fade, what do you think of making it normal and expected and completely above the table that the husband visits young prostitutes once the wife's aging starts to show? In effect, this would be like outsourcing the part of the relationship which is disappointing to the man because of her natural aging, so they can avoid the grueling experience of divorce. She could, of course, get a cat to meet her needs.
See, that's her opening fucking question. I mean, how fucking mental is that? Seriously. And it's at the point that you get asked a question as fucking crazy as that any sane talk radio host would think to themselves, okay, this woman's clearly fucking an absolute maniac. Right, I'll hear her out for a few seconds and then say to her, oh, we've got lots of calls waiting, thanks for your call, moving on, But no, we're dealing with Stefan Molyneux. He didn't play by your fucking rules, because he himself is fucking crazy.
Alrighty. Interesting question. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Stefan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very nice. I took a recent trip to Thailand. I live in the United States in a fairly remote area, and it's quite remote. I'm not around any cities at all.
See, and that really shows, okay? I've got a theory, basically. If you live more than 10 miles away from a good coffee shop and pizza place, then you will go fucking crazy. That's why people in the countryside are fucking mental, by and large.
These procedures and technology and cosmetics couldn't intervene with that. Then her spiritual beauty, her ability to hold her community, her family in harmony and love would be the beautiful thing, instead of running to this quite artificial prop.
Right. No, and I think that's a very important point. And rightly or wrongly, my instinct with women who run to plastic surgery and run to excessive makeup and is basically it's this giant big sign over their head saying, I'm not that likable.
I think it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Because the place that I live from the mainland of the United States is away from it all, it draws people with extreme wealth. And there's also the people that are just living day to day doing, the house cleaning or house painting. But we really have a disparity. But the people of extreme wealth, there is this service, which is an international bride procurement service, where basically over the internet, you can review pictures of really beautiful girls. I mean, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. The president of this company is a man who he himself has been divorced 7 times.
What kind of fucking place is this? This is like going into fucking some sort of sexual Narnia. What?
But the idea that you would focus on settling down with someone who may not be as physically beautiful, but has a great character, is a strong and virtuous and good person, that is the reproductive strategy that is kind of resented by a lot of men these days, in that women are going for the alphas, as they say, when they're younger, and then want to settle down with the beta after they've been used up by all the alphas. In other words, they're trying to do the R reproductive strategy when they're young and hot, and then they want to settle down with a K reproductive strategy when they start to hit the wall. It's in terms of aging. So yeah, I mean, this to me seems like very much that our reproductive strategy.
Interesting. Well, I never reproduced myself, but to get a little personal, I'm a 46-year-old white female, and I have found myself at this point in my life where the man who's courting me is 65 and old enough to be my father, and it's disturbing to me. If I had been born a male at my age, I could be having perhaps my second family. And
absolutely, and this is this is the challenge for women in middle age, is that they get to experience what it's like to be a man in his early 20s.
What?
Union to be a caretaker who performs predictable feminine roles, housekeeping, sex, beauty, conversation.
Well, and would they raise children? I guess if the guys can get their creaky old sperm to swim upstream.
Why is his old sperm any more creepy than young sperm? Surely sperm in itself is creepy. Why the fuck are we even having this conversation, Stefan? What the fuck?
But here's something gruesome but real. One of the things that I find most attractive about him is that he's going to die and leave me resources. And then I'll be left alone to read books.
See, now it's at this point that when I first watched this video, I thought to myself it would have been really good to film my initial reactions to this, because I had fucking tears pouring down my face with laughter. It's just so ridiculous. I had stomach cramps from laughter. It was fucking brilliant. This is the most crazy conversation ever.
When I look at him, there's nothing at all that is sexually titillating.
Oh, God. This is so bad.
Your mating call goes something like this, right? Wait, is that
Yes, he's now doing bird noises. The philosopher and intellectual Stefan Molyneux is now doing fucking bird noises.
So, one of the things that he liked about me when he first set eyes upon me and talked to me was he thought I was hot. And I was not trying to navigate the world as hot, but he thought I was hot. Okay, here we are. What if I tell him, I've aged since we met, and younger women are hotter because we've proved that. You said that yourself. How about if I take you to Thailand and I'll be there as a support for you, as a debriefer, a companion, and I'm going to send you into the soapy massage places where you can get your, hot dog rubbed.
This is so crazy. What the fuck?
If you were in my position and you had a mate or a suitor, and when you looked at them sleeping in their bed, they looked like a cadaver.
Okay, what the fuck is going on with this conversation right now? This is the most fucking crazy thing. What the fuck?
To transition into the spiritual recycling bin, and they're at the end.
No, but you don't understand. Look,
I'd rather.
If you're not going to have sex with him, then you're a friend, and friends don't get houses.
Well, you know what, Stefan? I tried.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you about the dynamics of it.
I know, and I understand that having sex with somebody is important for this particular arrangement, and I tried. But it wasn't like I looked at him and my body throbbed and I said, oh, I lust for you. I just knew that, this might be something I need to do. And I thought to myself, well, men went to Vietnam and that wasn't fucking easy. And maybe this isn't going to be easy, but this has to happen. So I tried.
So fucking this old dude is like going to Vietnam. How fucking repulsive is this guy? I didn't think any human being could be that fucking ugly. Look, how fucking ugly is this guy, for Christ's sake?
And all that smoke getting in your body and infusing your flesh and doing its, business, and your flesh is so loose that it hangs like a cloth on a flagpole.
This is the greatest conversation ever.
Aren't you glad you're not a 46-year-old woman with sour eggs?
No, I didn't say it was all about resources. I'm not saying that you find this guy Jabba the Hutt emotionally and physically and he's evil, but he's got a nice house. I'm not saying it's only about resources.
It's not.
I'm saying that in this situation, I think it would be a deciding factor.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
And bear in mind, I've had to cut that video down a hell of a lot, okay? That conversation went on for an hour and 10 minutes, and it's just filled with gold like that. But in order to squeeze it into a reasonably sized video, I've had to cut it down to that point. But it's fucking brilliant. I definitely advise you to go and watch it, okay? It's called something like The Most Honest Modern Woman Ever, or some fucking shite like that. And don't worry about giving him ad money by going and watching his videos, because he doesn't actually run ads. He gets all of his income from his gullible rubes donating to Free Domain Radio and all the rest of it. Now, for Stefan Molyneux's edition of The Descent of Man-osphere, I was going to do a whole bit about how he is exactly like Alex Jones. And Alex Jones, for those who don't know, is the king of the conspiracy fucking idiots who says dumb shit like this.
But the reason there's so many gay people now is because it's a chemical warfare operation. I have the government documents where they said they're going to encourage homosexuality with chemicals so that people don't have children. I even catch myself, Bob, drinking out of these estrogen mimickers.
Yes, 9/11 was an inside job. It was a staged event.
Justin Bieber! They poison the water, the vaccines, the food.
And I was going to do a whole bit comparing what Stefan Molyneux had said on certain topics and what Alex Jones had said on topics and how they're very, very similar, right? But Stefan Molyneux did the fucking job for me already by going on his show and basically agreeing with everything he fucking says. And before any of his fucking fanboy dickheads jump up and say, "Guilt by association," at any point Molyneux could have called out Alex Jones and said, "Look, what you've just said there is fucking disgusting, what you believe is ridiculous, you're a conspiracy theorist fuckwad." He could have done any of that, but no, he didn't. He sat there nodding along with Alex Jones going on in these fucking crazy rants, and then said some crazy shit himself. So you know what? Fuck you.
The idea that you can solve social problems voluntarily and peacefully and virtuously and cooperatively is an Enlightenment idea that got eclipsed by the progressive movement, the communist movement, the socialist movement.
See, now this is a common thing I've seen with these right-wing fuckers. They think the words progressive, communist, socialist, feminist, social justice warrior, whatever, mean exactly the same thing. They don't see any distinction between those obviously very, very divergent viewpoints.
What's going to happen as they double down historically? What comes out of that? What are they going to go through with the singularity stacked on top of it, with all the societal crises and all the and super bugs and like everything coming to a head? What do you expect to happen?
Well, violence, of course, is an addiction, and most addictions have to run their course. You know, most people who get involved in addictive behavior end up escalating and escalating and escalating, and our focus on trying to use government violence to solve complex social problems, I think you're right. It's in its death throes. I mean, how much further can it go? I mean, taxation, if you count debt and so on, and you count all the scaled taxes all embedded in your income and in your bills and in your regulations and so on, 60, 70, 80%, who even knows what it is?
60, 70, 80%, who even knows what it is?
But what we need to start hitting people with, Alex, is the moral argument that when they say more taxation will solve the problem, what they're saying is more violence, more theft,
more stealing,
incarceration, more stealing.
That's right. Stefan Molyneux thinks that taxation is violence, which is absolutely ridiculous, of course, but is even more ridiculous when you consider that he also said this later on in the show.
Maybe zombies are real. I always thought it was medically impossible. You have zombie banks. This is zombie media.
Well, look, I mean, the gun thing is tricky. And it's not tricky because the facts aren't on the side of the First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights guys. It's just tricky because people see a gun and they think violence. They don't think protection.
Sure, I get it.
People see a cop with a gun and they think protection. But they see a private citizen with a gun, and the less intelligent among us are like, ooh, that's violence.
So let me get this right, Stefan. Taxes are violence, but guns are not.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
The Cold War's been over for 20 years. Now, I think the Democratic Party has always had a pretty soft spot for Russia since the Al-Hiss incident and the HUAC, and they were covering up so much of spies, Russian spies inside.
Well, yeah, I mean, putting libertarians and conservatives and freedom lovers in death camps is their dream, so Stalin was kind of their rock star.
Yeah, and the covering up of Stalin's crimes and all of this kind of stuff. So people...
Let's just put it to you this way. They have pinups, spread centerfolds of Stalin.
Oh, yeah, they've really been very pro-communist, very pro-Russia.
So you two fucking window lickers think that we want to put libertarians in camps. If that is the case, why aren't you in fucking camps?
Much of what we've broken down has turned out to be the truth. They've gone through this process of there's no government drug dealing, there's no government money laundering, there's no cancer viruses being added to the vaccines, there's no covert population reduction programs. Now it's just all coming out. But it almost just inoculates people psychologically to go, okay, big deal, to where they'll put up with anything. So how do you quantify that paradox I'm kind of getting at?
Well, for me, at least, being a freedom fighter means always being sorry that I'm right.
Being a freedom fighter means always being sorry that I'm right.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's have less of that smug, self-satisfied twattishness, okay? That's my fucking job.
That discussion coming up in the next segment after calls. Fred in Wisconsin, you're a trooper for holding. You're on the air worldwide. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Wanted to ask you and your guest, you have an uncanny ability to predict the future based on the events going on right now. And I see all these young people, California, signing up for these medical marijuana cards, and I see it spreading across the United States. And I believe that if legalization happens, if it really does come across, that this is going to lead to gun confiscation later.
Now, I know this has got nothing to do with Stefan Molyneux or Alex Jones, but the caller there just said he thinks the legalisation of marijuana is going to lead to the confiscation of guns. How does he think those two things are fucking linked? What, that they're going to legalise it so everyone gets too stoned to realise that they're taking the guns? I mean, what the fuck?
So people who want to do great evil gravitate to where you're exempt from the moral rules and exempt from the law, which is...
the internet. But anyway, let's wrap a bow on this fucking puppy. How to sum up Stefan Molyneux? Well, there's absolutely tons of stuff that I didn't even get round to covering because of time constraints. I mean, I only briefly touched on his fucking hideous sort of cult leader status, fucking god complex thing he's got going on. His very, very serious mummy issues. Because he really, I mean, he hates women to a point where he blames anything that he perceives to be wrong in the world on either the government or women, and very often both. I didn't cover his absolutely atrociously shitty sense of humour, his obsession with cryptocurrencies, which is things like Bitcoin and Ripple and all the rest of it. I didn't get to cover the fact that basically he doesn't consider mental illness to really be a thing. He essentially thinks you can train yourself out of it by essentially becoming an anarcho-capitalist dick like him, because basically that's his answer to everything. I didn't have time to cover his slightly odd attitudes toward homosexuality, which consist of him basically coming out and saying, I support people's right to be gay, because the whole libertarian thing, but then going on to make some of the same arguments that homophobes make. Like, he made a video called something like Gay Marriage, What No One Wants to Talk About or something, in which it was a mercifully short 17-minute video, which basically he said nothing original whatsoever, and basically rehashed a lot of the same sort of vaguely homophobic arguments against gay marriage, or why we shouldn't give a fuck, or why the government shouldn't be involved in marriage at all, because, you know, apparently the government's the devil. I also didn't have time to mention his massive hypocrisy when it comes to immigration, because Stefan Molyneux was born in Ireland, grew up in England, moved to Canada, and has lived part of his life in America, so he is a triple immigrant, a 3-time immigrant who is against immigration. And I didn't get to cover the fact that he thinks that publicly funded schools are a communist plot to indoctrinate your children against freedom. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. He's a fucking mental case. But ultimately, Stefan Molyneux thinks he's some deeply profound thinker, intellectual philosopher, and he's not. He's just a grubby, selfish con man. So all in all, Stefan, go fuck yourself.
Crazy, but that's how we go.